Where I blend into this background. Oh, there's a big stack of books here. I've been filming this video for so fucking long. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new, and welcome to a video that I've been putting off filming for like 2 months. Welcome to my recent reads for October and November. I didn't end up doing a wrap up for October because there was a lot of books. So I have my laptop here. So if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my notes on my laptop because there's a lot of books. This is going to be a long one, so I feel like you need a warm drink, cold drink, a little beverage, whatever it is, beveragino, and a sweet treat to get you through this because it's going to be long and I like to yap. I'm going to try and keep it succinct because there's a lot of books. I read a lot of books in October. I needed help. I was trying to get through a lot of my TBR. That's what I was trying to do. And I listened to a lot of audiobooks. So I read 48 books in the month of October and then 34 in the month of November. So that's kind of insane. October started off with a 1 star. And I really apologize for the fact that I started off with a 1 star. But I read Offside by Avery Keeland and I gave it 1 star. What did I say in my review? My review says it literally did nothing for me. It was way too long. I felt like nothing happened. Maybe there's something wrong with me. I don't know. It literally did nothing for me. Absolutely nothing. So it is what it is. I then binged an A.L. Jackson series. I binged the Time River series. I read all 4. Love Me Today got a 3.5 stars. Don't Forget Tomorrow got 4 stars. Claim Me Forever got 3.5 stars. And then my favorite in the series, which is Hold Me Until Morning, got 4 stars. I really enjoyed them. I thought they were great. We have tropes like single dad, single mom, a second chance. They are fantastic. I am doing a full spotlight series on this series on my Instagram, so stay tuned for that. That is coming in the month of December as I start to wrap up everything that I read. They'll come, all my wrap ups and things will start coming halfway through the month. So I cut off new reads on about the 15th of December. I let myself sort of finish up as much as I can on my TBRs before I start doing wrap ups, just to make my life easier. I then do rereads and things like that for the second half of December. So stay tuned for that. That is a series that I have really enjoyed. I definitely need to read some more A.L. Jackson, but I have loved every single second of those books. I think they're fantastic. Very unique stories. They're suspenseful. They're dark, small town, but like morally grey style of dark. They're still quite light. There is dark predators, but it's a little bit grittier, and the MMCs are a little bit more morally grey than like MMCs and like Catherine Cowles, for example. So similar to Catherine Cowles if you want something just a little bit grittier than that. Morgan Elizabeth, I read 2 of her books this month and I had great success. I was very happy with how I felt about these books. So I read The Fall of Bradley Reed and gave it a 4.5 stars. I did love it. I loved Olivia's redemption arc. This is a fake dating romance. Our MMC is an FBI agent. She doesn't know that. He's trying to take down her ex. Chaos ensues. It is so funny. I honestly laughed out loud for most of it, but then I read the Ick Factor and I was like, oh, reading it, I was like, oh, maybe it's not going to be my favorite, but no, it is truly my favorite. It is a 5 star. This is a workplace romance, fake dating boss assistant. He's trying to get a promotion and he wants to look more serious to his boss, make him look like he's settled down and can take on this role. So his assistant says, oh, well, I'll help you. I'll fake date you. This is perfect. I have like an Ick Factor disease. Like, I'll never fall in love with you, so don't worry about it. The Spice blew me away. I was freaking obsessed. The office scenes, the romance, I loved it. This series is fantastic for like, especially like girlhood vibes. Easily like my favorite, and stay tuned for my Spotlight series as well. I would say my favorite in the series is obviously Ick Factor. My least favorite would be Big Nick Energy, then Cruel Summer. But I really loved them all. I think I gave them all like 4 stars and above, so I'm pretty happy with how I enjoyed this series. It was great. So I read Mad Love and Secret Love by Willow Astor. These are all single dad football romances, and I adored the first 2 that are out at the moment. So Mad Love is a secret baby. I gave this a 3.5 stars. And so the baby's mum dies in like a car accident and now he wants to take in the baby. But her sister, the baby's like auntie, doesn't want to let the baby go. So she moves in with him and they're like gonna like co-parent this baby together. And it was so delicious. I just didn't love it as much as the second book, but I still did thoroughly enjoy it. Secret Love is an age gap single dad. He's got 3 girls that he co-parents very well with his ex-partner, and they meet in the supermarket, and then few weeks go by and he finds out that she is his child's ballet teacher as well as child's substitute teacher, and the age gap, it is so good. I also love like the friendship dynamics in these two books. They are delicious. I loved this series. I cannot wait to read more of her books. I'll definitely be reading the Landmark Mountain series, which is slightly connected to this, but they're very much truly standalones in this series. So I love Will Astor, definitely a new author by author for me. I then read The Island Arrangement by Louise Tyner. Now I love everything this woman writes. This got a 4 stars. This is a fake dating. I love fake dating, obviously. She is like a hired date. She's not quite an escort. She doesn't really sleep with her clients, but she's created like a dating service where people can hire her as a date, and he hires her to be his date to his brother's wedding where his ex-girlfriend is going to be there as the maid of honor, and chaos ensues. So if you like Anyone But You and Bridesmaid for Hire, I adored it. The banter, the chaos, it is hilarious. I highly recommend if you're looking for something low stakes, easy to read, light, escapism. I think my only complaint that I also was not in Mexico while reading this book. Lena frickin' Hendricks. I love this woman. I have given this woman a lot of 5 stars. This book is easily my favorite of hers of all time. Just My Luck got a 5 stars. This is a single mum marriage of convenience workplace romance. So she wants to keep custody of her kids. Her ex-husband comes from money and is trying to take custody of her kids. So she's like, let me get married and like protect my kids. He wants a loan to buy his dad out from his bar. She's got the money to do it, but she needs to be married to access the funds. So they get married and it is great. Abel is, I didn't expect this book to be my favorite, but truly this man, every time this man said my wife, I was like, I'm done for. I am weak. I'm obsessed. Then we have Sweet Spot by Rebecca Genshak. Now, this is like a kind of shortest book. It's set in the same universe as the Wallflower series and the Holland Brothers series. So I just read this because it's connected to the Holland Brothers. So I was like, let me read this. It was quick. It's closed door. It's quite funny. It's a golf sports romance. She is trying to like step up her game and he's like gonna coach her. 3 stars. It's just too short to give it a full, crazy, long, in-depth review. So I enjoyed it though. Then I read my second favorite Elizabeth O'Rourke book. I did not have the best start with her books, but this one, oh my god. So I read The Summer I Destroyed You. This is like a black cat golden retriever. He is tasked with like renovating her house. They're working together. There's a lot happening and I loved it. The FMC is just my favorite of all time. She is so feisty. I'm obsessed. It was great. I would probably reread that book any day of the week, but it was fantastic. Forever Starts Tonight by Carla Sorensen. I don't really love that title, but anyway, gave it a 4 stars. This is an accidental pregnancy brother's best friend one night stand book. I love this family. They are my favorite of all time. They are so sweet. We have our FMC who is in a bar and goes home with her brother's best friend, and one thing leads to another, and I loved this. It was so sweet. Again, the family dynamics are always a win for me. I cannot wait for the next one. If I had to pick a favorite, my favorite is probably book 2 in the series. Then this one, I think that's my current ranking of like my top 2. So we'll see how book 5 stacks up. Next, I read the Catherine Cowles book that I missed while I was away at my wedding and honeymoon and blah, 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 blah. So I read Delicate Escape. This got a 4.5 stars. While I loved this, it just wasn't my favorite. But again, like, it's Catherine Cowles. I rate her books very, very highly. I do really, really enjoy them. 4.5 stars is definitely not a bad rating. I just read better. I really love the journey that Thea and Shep went on. I think that their romance was like this quiet, sweet. He falls first. He like is constantly chasing her and she's just like, I can't. And then when she finally lets him in and his family, oh, my heart and soul. Like, this was great. I loved this so much. I've read a few Ice Planet Barbarians over the last couple of months. These are the ones that I read. I am really conflicted about how to rate these because they're short and they're basically just spice. I don't know how to rate them, so I haven't been rating them this year. If you have like a system on how you rate like silly little books like this, let me know. I'm confused, but these are the ones that I read. I did really enjoy them. They're very easy escapism books. I have no complaints, but yeah, those are the ones that I read. Then I read When We Lied by Claire Contreras. Now, I don't really have much to say about this other than it was a bit of a letdown. 2.5 stars. I was very confused. There was a lot going on. I didn't feel the same chemistry and spark as I did with Until I Get You. There was just something lacking and I can't even pinpoint what it is. It just didn't do it for me. There was too much plot, I think, and I was just getting confused. I don't know. It was very long. Collide by Belcabra. Now this got a 3.5 stars. This is a hockey romance that's been like compared to Icebreaker and Icebreaker's sexy older sister. Now, do I think this is better than Icebreaker? No. Do I think this is worse than Icebreaker? No. This is like very much on par with Icebreaker for me. I think it is a great book. I loved all the funny moments. This is Black Cat Golden Retriever. He Falls First. The spice is amazing, but it is a 3-star. It is a fantastic debut, don't get me wrong. It does exactly what you needed to do. This author has so much potential. I do not think that this is a bad book by any means. It's just not a major standout. It's probably not a book that I would reread and revisit, but I would revisit the author and I would still recommend this book to a lot of people. I then read Locked by K.L. Steele. Now again, this is like a short, very, very short novella by a debut author. I didn't read it because I didn't know how to, but I did enjoy that and I'm intrigued to see where the story goes. I will definitely be reading Chained in the new year. I then started the Holland Brothers series and I read Burnout and Playbook and I loved both of these. They are fantastic. We're following the brothers that we met at the end of the Wallflower series in Tempting the Player. I love this series so much. Burnout, I gave 4 stars. I did enjoy it. It's just not that almost perfection level for me. It's just like a little bit of a step down from a 4.5. This is a motocross driver and a ballerina. No, gymnast, sorry, a gymnast. He has come to her to help him like retrain his skills, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it was fun, it was flirty, it was everything that you could want. But Playbook took the cake for me. This is a 5-star. I adored this book. This is like a dislike to love kind of book. He has a PO box where he gets like crazy fan mail. He plays football and she takes over his PO box and she constantly keeps getting like underwear in her PO box that is his fan mail, and then she approaches him at a bar and like goes off at him, and then they form this really sweet romance. It is also fake dating. He is obsessed with her reformed playboy. They're fake dating for, I believe, her sister's wedding because her ex is going to be there. Like any other sort of fake dating romance, the ex is always there. But I loved it. It was so entertaining, kept me hooked from start to finish. I loved it. I think I read it in a day. I read the last book in the Red Zone Rivals series, which is False Start. Now, MMC gets his redemption arc from the series. In the series, like this is set a bit after the end of Hail Mary. It is a single mum second chance romance and fake dating. She's older than him by like I think 2 years. She was his babysitter when he was in high school. Something sort of, they were like toying on like a relationship and it didn't sort of happen. And then she went off to college and obviously their relationship didn't happen and they're fake dating to sort of protect her daughter, and he needs a date to a wedding, and you can imagine where it goes. But I loved it. It was great. I gave it a 4 stars. I think it's probably one of my I think it's like my 3rd favorite in this series. I don't know, they're all very, very good. I love Candice Steiner. I then read the Wreck series by Catherine Cowles. I loved this. Obviously, these are all the books that I read, and I'll give you a quick star rating. So Reckless Memories got a 4 stars. Perfect Wreckage also got a 4 stars. Wrecked Palace, which is my favorite in this series, got a 4.5. Reckless Refuge got a 3.5. And Beneath the Wreckage also got a 3.5. They are all very, very great. The first 3 are obviously my standouts, but they are all very good. This is like part of her earlier work, and I just think she's just, like, you can see from the start, like, she is fantastic. I would say that these are a little bit darker than maybe some of her other books, but I think they're very good. And then I read Sicko, probably one of the worst books that I read this year. I gave it 2 stars. This is a stepbrother romance. I don't know, it did nothing for me. Literally nothing. Motorcycle romance, I was just like, what are we trying to achieve here? I don't know. I gave it 2 stars, so I think the redeeming quality was there was some good spice from memory. I then started this Lisa Claypla series, the Wallflower, I think it's Wallflower series. I really enjoy historical romance. I think they're great. So I read the first 3 in the months of October and November. So Secrets of Summer, I gave 3.5 stars. This is like an opposites attract, enemies to lovers, He Falls First. Really fun read. I really liked meeting all of the girls in this series. The pacing felt a little bit slow to start with, but I really did enjoy this book, and I just felt that FMC was like a little bit difficult to connect to, but I did really enjoy the fun dynamic and the chaos that ensues. It happened one summer. I would also give it 3.5 stars. This is, I really enjoy like the independence of our FMC. She's probably my favorite Wallflower that we've met so far, but I really enjoyed the dynamic with Westcliff. It's so iconic, and I was just like literally cackling the whole time. And then we read my favorite, which is a 4 stars. Now this is a marriage of convenience between a rake and a Wallflower. MC gets a redemption arc. He's so protective and obsessed and would do literally anything to help her The chemistry was electric, and I really love the celibacy pact. It is hilariously sweet. I think she freaking nailed this book. It was so fun. I honestly was just like laughing the whole time, and then like something happens at the end, and like the caring for him scene. Oh, I loved it. It was so like quirky and silly. Like like I said, the celibacy pact was just hilarious dynamic, and they run away to get like married, so they can't get married off. It is so quick. It's so funny, and she's got like a stammer, and like lacks confidence, and he helps like bring back her confidence. It was so sweet. Then I read Castaways by Ellen Hildebrand, and this is probably my least favorite Ellen Hildebrand that I've read. It was 2.5 stars. I don't know. I was a bit confused. There was a lot of characters. There's a lot happening. So I settled on 2.5 stars. 2 people die, and I'm trying to figure out like how and why that happened. So I don't know. I got confused. Again, another one of my bigger letdowns of the year, 1111 by Macaulay Smeltzer. This is she's older, he's younger. She goes on a date with his dad, and then she starts dating the son. Similar to Big Nick Energy, but just didn't deliver in the same way. I don't know, it was delivering not much. So 2 stars. I didn't feel the chemistry was, again, long, unnecessarily long. It's 426 pages. I don't think that it needed to be. Considering the book that I read before that was Castaways, and that was 400 pages, and that's like a mystery. I don't know why this romance book needed to be 426 pages. Following that, I read The Hookup Equation by Roxy Noir, and it's 411 pages, and gave it a 4 stars. I just felt like there was more substance, and there was more plot, there was more intrigue, there was more everything. This is an age gap student professor, college student professor romance, and loved it. It was sexy, it was different. She's a virgin, and there was just something like a little bit saucy and a little bit sexy about it, and I really enjoyed it. The plot was wild. The chaos that happens was insane, and I loved it. This is the second last book in this series, and I'm kind of sad to say goodbye to the Loveless Brothers. But this book also connects to book 3 in her Wildwood Society series, so I'm very glad to get to that as well. Now, I've got here Rope Me In by Kayla Gross, and I don't actually have a rating on it. Again, this was 400 pages. I don't know why it needed to be 400 freaking pages. What did I rate it on Goodreads? I didn't even rate it on Goodreads. I said I finished this book on Monday. I remember nothing. It just did nothing for me. It was, again, entirely too long. Another 2-star was The Devil You Know by Veronica Eden. 324 pages, so it wasn't the length, but it just was really cringy and stupid. I think I'm just a little bit too old for the chaos that happens in this book. This book started off strong with the spicy tutoring sessions. While this was adorable, the frequent references to TikTok and social media felt a little bit excessive and took me out of the story. Definitely felt very Wattpad-y for someone in high school, except your girl, I'm grown, your girl is grown to me. If I'm going to read a college romance, there needs to be some depth. I cannot be bothered to write a full review, so I was bye. And I had like a string of disappointments. This was such a weird couple of months. I had a string of disappointments and then a string of 5 stars, so anyway, another disappointment was Unravel Me by Becca Mack, 2.5 stars, 512 pages. This was entirely too long. This book got picked up trad. This should have been culled. There should have been intense editing. There should have been about 150 pages cut out of this with ease, and the story would have been 10 times better. So let's look at my review, because my review was actually kind of funny. So I really struggled to figure out how I was going to rate this, but this needed at least 150 pages taken out of it. And I think the blame solely sits on the publishers. Why they are not editing better and encouraging Becca to cut down the waffle, I don't understand. Like, she's a known waffler. She writes very, very long books. Like, they should be encouraging her to cut it down. If this book sat around 380 pages, I think it would have been an absolute standout. Aside from the waffle, there's other things that I wanted to highlight. Why this man has a 10-inch penis, I will never understand. This is not remotely realistic or enjoyable. I think 8 inches would have been more than enough. I don't know why Rosie even bothered wasting time with her baby daddy. Like, he was a piece of trash. The maturity of all the characters, given their grown ages. These characters are grown. These characters are late 20s, early 30s. Like, they're grown. They behave like, if this was set in college, it would have made more sense, their behavior. But this was just wild. The conflict in these books is always other woman drama. Like, I don't know why we can't think of a different plot point. I think I'm officially done with this series. However, if you also didn't like Consider Me and Unravel Me, but did enjoy Fall With Me, let me know the selling points of that book and share your review with me, and I may consider picking it up. Then I read my favorite Elizabeth O'Rourke book of all time. This was a 4.5 stars, and I think it was fantastic. She nailed this book. I was completely blown away. I loved the FMC. I felt so connected to the FMC. The MMC was just delicious. It is a billionaire romance, age gap, forbidden, grumpy sunshine, forced proximity, he falls first. He falls harder. She's always had a crush on him. He is her uncle's best friend, and she's like wanting to get away from her mum and her stepdad, so she moves into his house and doesn't tell him and just stays there all summer. And he's very protective of her because he feels like he's also her niece, his niece. The tension and the steam was delicious. It was the perfect like forbidden romance for me. It has all the elements of forbidden romance that I think are just... I'm curious to see if we're going to get some spin-offs from Harrison's brothers because I think they're very intriguing. But yeah, definitely keen to see what this woman comes out with next year. The Boyfriend by Frida McFadden, 4 stars. I'm not going to say too much because it is a thriller, but oh my god, one of my favourite Frida McFaddens. I was blown away. I thought this was going one way and then it completely switched and I was like, oh my god, okay. Loved it. 4 stars. One of her best works in my opinion. I thought it was great. Rally by Devney Perry. This is my favourite book in this series. It was so good. 4.5 stars. I love this. This is accidental pregnancy, one night stand, forced proximity. She's comes from like a bit of a damaged background and she just gets completely accepted into his friends and his family, and I thought it was so sweet. And I loved that Millie and Ford was so supportive of them. I just think it was so well done. It made total sense. I loved this book, and he just continually showed up for her, and like he's like, yeah, okay, I got you pregnant, like I'm going to stand by your side. And I loved it so much. One of my favorite Devney Perry's for sure, in my top 10. Okay, I'm going to quickly talk about these next 2 books because I do have full vlogs dedicated to reading these that are coming later this week. But Wild Eyes, 5 stars. Everyone knows this is fantastic, and this is fantastic for a reason. I loved it so much. So stay tuned for my vlog to see some more in-depth thoughts, but this is worth every little bit of hype that it gets. I loved this book so much. And then Play Along was a little bit of a letdown, not a major letdown. I gave it a 4.5 stars. It was like 4 to 4.5 stars. This is an accidental marriage, workplace romance. I did love it. I just expected a little bit more. Like, it was short. I think she could have added a little bit extra to this and it still would have been... I think it just needed just something a little bit extra. Fall With Me by Brooke Montgomery, and I gave it 3 stars. I don't know, something was just a little bit off. I didn't fully connect, but I did enjoy it. I don't really remember it. It was a bit of a haze that I read it, I think, and I probably should just reread it. Bright Lights and Summer Nights. Oh my god. Oh my god, this book is a fantastic 4.5 stars. This is my second favorite in this series. I do have another series spotlight coming for this, obviously, because this series is now finished, but I cannot wait to see what they do with what she does with the next series that connects to this. But this is an age gap, forced proximity, summertime romance. He is a professional football player and he is staying in her best friend's guest house that she is staying in for the summer to try and sort of find herself in the Hamptons. They fake date for his sister's wedding so like his friends and family can like get off his back about finding someone, and I loved it. I think my only critique was like, again, like a lot of my books, it's the third act breakup. It always just falls flat for me and just doesn't do what it should do. But yeah, 4.5 stars, loved this. I then booked one of BookTok's favorite books, and that is Part of Your World by Amy Jimenez. 5 stars. I think if I was gonna be super fussy, it would be 4.75 if I was gonna be super fussy because of the third act breakup, but I loved so much about this. I loved her character arc. I loved this. Again, I have a full vlog coming for this, so stay tuned. I'm not gonna say too much. I know why this is loved, I get it. But I cannot wait to dive into more of her books because I just think they're going to be even better. And then I went down a rabbit hole and read these 3 books, and I did enjoy them. They're just not standouts. They're a bit short, they're sweet, they're just not... They don't have a lot of depth for me to rate them higher. The first one got 3.5 stars, the second one got 3 stars, and then 2.5. I still probably recommend this series as a whole. I think I was just being maybe extra critical, but I think if you do want a small town, like a short small town series, I do think this is a great series to pick up. It just wasn't a major standout for me. We're on to the last book of October now. The last book in October was The Housemaid is Watching by Frida McFadden. And again, I really enjoyed this. I thought this was going one way, it went another, got a 4.5 star. I would say probably a 4.5 stars more than a 4. One of my favorite Frida McFaddens. I don't know, this is definitely like a fan service book, but I just really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the twist. I enjoyed coming back to this world. Better than the second one. I thought it was great. We are on to November, and I started November with the DNF. I'm sorry, TL Swan, but this is a DNF. When he became the Prime Minister, I was done. I think I DNF'd it like 75% of the way through. Again, entirely too long. Yeah. The fact that he became Prime Minister, I was like, this is not what I signed up for. I then read Bridesmaid Undercover, and this felt like a little bit of a letdown compared to the first book in this series. This got a 3.5 stars. Again, probably a little bit too long, a little bit of waffly, needed to be cut down a little bit. It just felt a little bit messy, to be a bit more refined about what we were trying to achieve. I then read some more Candy Steiner. Now this series is probably one of her more polarizing series, but also very, very popular. It is a USA Today like bestseller series. I read the Best Kept Secret series, and oh my god, so the first two are like a duet that are a love triangle romance. So she's married to a man, and then her childhood best friend comes back into the picture. He's got like so much trauma, so much baggage, and her husband's like not really paying attention to her, and so she starts hooking up with this guy, and it's about like who's going to win her back and who's going to get her. It was like really hard to like, rate because I don't really love triangles, and I don't always love cheating, but I had to rate them highly because I just could not stop reading. I was so hooked. I did enjoy I've seen a lot of people say they didn't like who she ended up with. I actually really respected the ending, and I feel like it made a lot of sense. So the first one got a 4.5 stars, and the second one got 4 stars, and then the third one got 3.5 stars. I won't tell you what happens in the third one because you need to read the first two, just sort of, otherwise I'll spoil it. If you want angsty, cheating, toxic chaos, this is the series for you. I think it is fantastic though. I then started the new Elle Thorpe series, so I read Wife Number 1 and Twin 2. Both of these got a 4 stars. They are Why Choose, suspenseful plots. This series isn't giving me what I wanted it to give. It's got a lot to do with the occult, with a cult, and I don't know, it's just not given the same way that the other ones do. I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit exhausted. I don't know, there's just something not giving in it, and I can't really explain it. But if you love Elle Thorpe, you'll still probably really enjoy it. I'm still having a great time. I read Sunlight by Danny Perry. Again, I'm not going to talk about this too much. There is a vlog coming with 4.5 stars. I just wanted it to give a little bit more than I wanted to give. There was a lot going on. It's an accidental pregnancy, workplace, and a Mr. Lovers. I did love it. I loved the conclusion. I just think the start of it was just a little bit disjointed, and I just wanted a little bit more clarity, but I still loved it. I would really recommend it to a lot of people. Mr. Heartbreaker by Piper Rain. This is the same author that I read earlier at the end of October. 3.5 stars. This is a brother's teammate. She always like swore to her brother that she wouldn't date his teammates, and then she hooks up with him one night at a wedding and doesn't know that it's his teammate, and you can see where that's gonna go. I really enjoyed the friend dynamics. I really enjoyed a lot about it. Hockey romance, I don't know if I said that. Yeah, we'll continue with this series when it comes out next year. Partner Plot by Christina Forrest. This is a 4 stars. This is an accidental marriage in Vegas, but it's also second chance. They're high school sweethearts. They accidentally get married in Vegas one day, and then they're like, oh no, it's fine, it's not legal, but they continue to pretend to be together so that he can keep his job, and she just sort of wants to keep like this limelight off her of like the chaos that happened with her ex-client and ex-partner. Yeah, I loved this. This is my, like, it's so good. I cannot wait for the next one. The next one's gonna be so freaking good. But I'm really enjoying this author. She's doing great things. I don't know, there's no spice, it's closed door, but it doesn't need it. I'm really enjoying the sister dynamics. I'm enjoying the romances. They're very different and fresh and unique, I would say. The most recent release, the next book in the King's Family series by Lena Hendricks. So I read Just Between Us. Now this got 4 stars. This could have given so much more. Royal didn't give in the way that I wanted him to give. He was a bit golden retriever, and that's not what I expected. It's black cat golden retriever. He's tattooed though. There's no third eye breakup and Dom's dynamics. The spice was great. It just wasn't giving the way that I wanted it to give. A lot more focus on the plot than the romance, which is not necessarily a critique. The romance wasn't giving the same way that I wanted it to give, but I am very excited for the next book. I love Lena Hendricks, and next year I'll probably get through a lot of her backlist. That's my plan. I then read Until You by Katharina Mora. Now this stands up to Forever After All me. I was kind of blown away by how much I enjoyed this. This is a brother's best friend, secret pen pal situation, workplace. I enjoyed this. This was different plot. Not too much drama, which I really enjoyed. Did I say 3.5 stars? 3.5 stars. I am going to finish this series. I have 2 more in this series to read. I'm still undecided what I'm going to do about the Windsor series. The Wingman by Stephanie Archer. A bit of a disappointment. Not a hate, but a disappointment. So this is a friends to lovers, like, dating coach style romance, and I just think it could have given a lot more. I'm not going to say too much. Again, there is a vlog coming for this. I'll leave the vlog to tell you why I didn't like it. It's 448 pages. It just could have given more with those number of pages. I don't think the pages and the words were used wisely. The Matchmaker by Ellen Hildebrand. I'm working my way through Ellen Hildebrand's backlist before getting to her new stuff. This one though, I was enthralled. I couldn't stop reading this. This got a 4 stars. This is a lot of people didn't like this book according to reviews on Goodreads, but I thought it was great. It is set in Nantucket. She has set up all of these people with their partners, and all of their relationships has worked out. She gets like this special sense of like relationships that do and do not work. And she's like, her daughter has moved back in for the summer. She doesn't want her daughter with her partner, and she just has a bad vibe. And yeah, I thought it was really, really cute. I thought it was different. I wasn't going the way that I expected it to go, but I loved it. I don't know how to explain it to you, but I loved it. I then started this Ashley Munoz series. I read the first 3 and enjoyed them. I'm definitely going to read more of her books, I think. The first book was a second chance. This first book was a second chance romance. 3.5 stars. I enjoyed their romance. The second one, Where We Belong, 3.5 stars also. This is a enemies to lovers, forced proximity, Where We Promise, got a 4 stars. This is my favorite. This is a someone else's baby, childhood crush romance. I don't want to say too much because it'll probably give it away. I loved this so much. I thought it was great. Pining and the feelings between these two was so good. The flashbacks, I loved this. The plot was insane. But yeah, 4 stars, probably my favorite. We have another letdown. There's been a lot of wins and a lot of letdowns these last couple of months, which is so strange. So this is War by Megan Quinn. I thought this could have given more than it gave. It was very long. It's 446 pages. Again, pages were not used wisely. The plot was really unhinged. 3 stars. I thought it could have given more. This is the guy that we've waited for so long, and this is the romance that we got. Off to the races. I have a vlog coming for this. I'm not going to say too much. 4 stars. My only really letdown was like some cringy moments, but you can tell that like this is like her first work and she's still trying to work it out. But Elsie Silver knew what she was doing even when she wrote her first book. So I loved this. Set me up for like a great series. I cannot wait to continue. I want to finish this series before the end of the year. I really hope that I can. My fingers are crossed. I read one of my favorite books of all time, but this book will not get a review unfortunately because it's still under the SMP boycott. It did get a 5 stars. The Paris Apartment, 3.5 stars. I did predict where this plot was going and what was going to happen as we sort of got closer towards the end, but I was hooked. Like I read this in like a day and a half. I was completely hooked. It's a thriller, like more of a mystery more than a thriller. It was insane, but I loved it. I thought it was a good thriller. I definitely will continue to read it. Lucy Foley. The next book that I am going to read by her just came in the library. We're at my favorite Catherine Cowles book, probably of all time, Broken Harbour. 5 stars. Oh my freaking god. Catherine Cowles, I love you. Forehead kisses for the rest of time. This is a single mum. She's running from something. He is an NHL player who is obsessed with her. She's got a creepy landlord and he's like, move in with me, I'll help you. And he's in town coaching the kids' hockey camp and her kid goes there and he just continues to show up for her. And I loved this so much. I did a really, really good review on my Goodreads, so like check that out. On to Another Disappointment, Wicked Serve by Grace Riley. Now, I think the reason that this fell flat is because there was too much of a gap between this and Stealing Home. Like we waited over a year, like almost a year and a half for this book. And I think the momentum on writing this book was let down. I gave it 3 stars. I couldn't even tell you why I didn't like it because I just don't remember. This is brother's teammate, like slash rival. She plays volleyball, he plays hockey, college. It wasn't bad by any means. It just didn't deliver the way that I hoped. Most of the relationship development, this is probably the bigger part of it, most of the relationship development happened off page. They'd already established their relationship before the book started. So there was no real like tension and build up throughout it. There was a constant miscommunication through this book. There were some really, really cute moments and the steamy scenes were fantastic, but the chemistry at times felt really forced and the main plot point was that they were hiding from her brother, which didn't really feel strong enough to carry the story. I love the depth that we had between like his trauma and her imposter syndrome, but I think it really leaned heavily on the spice and the unresolved issues at the end, and I just didn't love it. Shout out by Avery Keelan, DNF, I don't know. I did write a review on it. What did I say? This author is officially never continuing her books because they're just purely not for me. She either needs to age down or age up her characters. There's a mess to it. The use of methinks was oddly off-putting and really out of place. Are we talking about 12-year-olds? Immaturity in both her books was prevalent, But then the plot points and a lot of the issues in this book were very mature, so I don't understand what we were trying to achieve. There's basically no romantic build-up, all about the physical connection. I felt very similar about this that I did about Wicked Serve. Very little depth to their relationship at the point that I'd gotten. I'd read 55% of it. The cancer subplot felt far too heavy for a college sports romance. It seemed like a device added to heighten the FMC's anxiety. We constantly hear about her mum, but never really see anything that happens with her. The pacing feels off. There was a lack of development at the point that I had gotten. The use of words and pages felt careless. There was a lot of filler and repetitive moments for a book that didn't need to have it. I then had 2 5 stars in a row, and again, they're coming in a vlog. So Lost and Lassoed 5 stars. Did we expect anything less? And Daydream 5 stars. I've seen a lot of people feel like let down by this book. I don't think this book is necessarily for everyone, but it is for me. It is for the elder sister, people-pleasing, Taylor Swift loving girlies. These books are for girls in their mid-20s, particularly eldest daughters. Both of them sent a message that needed to be sent and are 2 of my favorite books of all time, I think. I love them, but yeah. There's a full vlog coming, stay tuned for that. I then finished the Magnolia Falls series by Laura Pavlov. I adored this series. I read Finding Hayes. This is a second chance sort of childhood best friends, marriage of convenience, romance, 4.5 stars. She needs to get married within 30 days to access the property that's been left to her, which is a common plot point. And he wants to seem serious to get the promotion at his work. So he marries his best friend who's come back into town after not seeing her for like 10 years. Chaos ensues and I loved it. This book could have easily been a 5-star. I think my only thing that let it down was the third act. The third act could have been dealt with a little bit better with some more communication. Considering how well they communicated throughout the book and their constant need to stand up for each other, it could have been done better, but it just a little bit flat. But 4.5 stars is still a great reading. I then read an arc of From Air by Julianne, and I enjoyed this. This is my second Julianne book, and I read her early like last year and haven't picked her up since. This got a 4 stars. Actually, this got a 3.5 stars. I lied. It was definitely an emotional roller coaster. I was hooked from the start. The tension between Jamie and Fitz was like the driving force for me to read this book. Like, I was like, oh my god, this is insane. It was heartbreaking and intense right from the jump. There was so much happening, like you felt so much pain. I loved Jamie's strength and her journey, and I love Fitz's journey. He became just such a sweet, beautiful man by the end. Their banter was amazing. There was so many fun, sweet moments, and the spice was so good. Fan Family Vibes will always be a winner for me. I love that. It felt very raw and real. Like everything was, it was very, very like fleshed out, and the story took me on a lot of twists and turns that I wasn't expecting, but here we are. I enjoyed it. I'm going to continue with this series, and I will be reading more from Julianne next year. That is for sure. This is a firefighter. He's actually like a smoke jumper in Montana, so if you love that, like that setting, it's great. It's also age gap. Enemies to lovers, obviously, roommates, and a grumpy sunshine. She's like a travel nurse. I then read a book, again, another one of my favorites of the year. I read a lot of really good books on the back half of the year. I read a lot of really good books at the start of the year and the end of the year. The middle of the year was a little bit duddy, but that's fine. I read This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. Now, I read Meet Me at the Lake earlier in this year. I did a full vlog for it. I'll link it here. But this one was great. 5 stars. I've seen a lot of people like give it mixed reviews, but for me, it gave what I wanted to give. Female friendship was a really strong point in it. The setting was completely vibrant, and I really felt the setting. I loved this place. Like, I want to go there. I think when you go into Carly Fortune's books, know that her characters are deeply flawed and tackle real life dramas, and they feel very raw and real, and they're not going to be cookie-cutter romance books. They're very much flawed characters. I loved it though. There was a lack of communication, but at the same time I felt like it made sense given their ages. She goes to this island to spend the summer with her best friend. She has a one-night stand with the guy, and then when she wakes up in the morning she realizes it's her best friend's brother, and one of the rules that they had was do not sleep with my brother. You can see where that goes. And then it takes place like time jumps and like back and forth. They will definitely be like my soul people forever. We're at the last book I'm here talking about, Formula Thing by Sawyer Bennett. Now, I really struggle with formula and romances. I've DNF'd a lot and rated a lot of them really badly because I feel like their sports representation, like the representation of the sport is very inaccurate. It drives me up the freaking wall. Like, if you're gonna do a sports romance, at least like do some research. This though, I loved it. You can tell that she put in care to sort of research the sport, make sure she was getting everything right. This book as someone like me who knows enough about the sport to not need it, there was a lot of a backstory to how things work that I didn't really care for. But if you've never read an F1 romance before, and if you don't know anything about the sport, this is a great gateway to understanding the sport. I think she did a great job. 4 stars. I did enjoy the romance. I think, again, the only thing that sort of let me down was that third act. There was a bit of miscommunication that could have been dealt with a little bit better. The FMC sort of overreacted without thinking, and I don't always appreciate that. I loved it. I got it as an ALC, and I will be continuing more of her work, and I'll be continuing this series as it comes out next year. I found an F1 series that I've actually enjoyed, so I'm happy with that. So that is the end of this video. I think I yapped for about an hour and a half. Yeah, so I don't know how long this video is going to be, so I hope you enjoyed this long video and enjoyed your beveragino and your sweet treat that you hopefully had. Comment below and tell me what your best read was from November and October. I'd love to hear about it. And then make sure you like and subscribe, because Bookmas starts in less than 2 weeks, and you better be freaking excited, because I'm freaking excited. The videos, the recs are all coming at you. Stay tuned. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.